Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, thanks to everyone who checked out this video right here. We stepped out of our lane a little bit, spent a bunch of time talking about the First Amendment rather than the Second Amendment. And as it turns out, timing really is everything, because now we're going to talk about what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I'm not here to spike the football in his face or celebrate the canceling of his show or anything like that. What I am here, though, is to use this as a learning opportunity or a teachable moment, because there are a lot of people out there who suddenly have become huge fans of the First Amendment again, but they really have no understanding of how it actually works. So today, let's slow it all down, let's educate, and let's talk about, actually, this is exactly how free speech works. Okay, America, we are now talking about former Late Show host Jimmy Kimmel, who found out that his show was in fact going to be canceled. Now, I want you to know that we did this previous video right here, which was about the rash of people who are being terminated nationwide for their rather vulgar, repugnant, and disgusting reactions to the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I pointed out in that video that yes, the First Amendment does protect the right for you to say just about anything you want. But what it does not protect you from is the consequences of what you've chosen to say. Put more simply, the First Amendment does protect the FA, it does not protect the FO. But you see, America, this is what I want you to understand. This is not really a lesson in the FO part of the equation. No, this is actually a true lesson, a working example of how free speech works in a capitalistic society. You see, when we talk about free speech, we usually talk about individual free speech. Do individuals have the right to speak freely? They absolutely positively do. You know who else has the right to speak freely? Companies. Yes, companies actually have the right to speak freely. Goes beyond just commercial speech, by the way, okay? Goes beyond marketing. And if you don't believe me, just check out the case of Citizens United versus FEC. So understand, Jimmy Kimmel had absolutely every right in the world to say what he wanted to say, okay? Now, does he have some responsibility that comes with having a large platform? Yeah, I believe he has responsibility. But yes, constitutionally, he was permitted to say what he wanted to say, which, again, just to refresh everyone's memory, was, we hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Okay, despite the fact that that is categorically false in more ways than we can shake a stick at, again, while Mr. Kimmel has the right to say that, the ABC affiliates and those who own ABC affiliate stations, well, they have the right to speak their mind as well. And that brings us into two major media groups. One is Nexstar. Nexstar owns 33 ABC affiliates nationwide. They had made a decision that they were going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel's show, which is a fancy term for they weren't going to show it, they were going to put other programming on. The president of Nexstar was quoted as saying, "Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse." Enter also Sinclair Media, another large media conglomerate which owns approximately 35 ABC affiliates nationwide. They too made a decision that they were going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel's show, and they were quoted as saying, "Mr. Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by the big national networks." Okay, and on a side note to FCC Chair Brendan Carr, listen, what we're going to be talking about today is how the American people and the American consumer can solve most of these problems. We don't really need the FCC stepping in and engaging in cancellation. We don't need to be celebrating cancellation, because this is not cancellation. This is a person who chose to speak freely. They have the absolute right to do that. And this is the American consumer choosing with their pocketbook and with their own words a manner in which they want to react to those chosen words. So at this point, the Kimmel Show, which is probably already losing money, is going to lose approximately 70 to 80 ABC affiliates which means that their advertising revenue is going to dry up significantly. If you're a company and you know suddenly 35 to 70 of the largest markets in America are no longer going to be airing the show, why would you advertise with that? And so a show that was losing money now goes to suddenly absolutely hemorrhaging money. And so what this really was a person exercising their right to free speech, a bunch of consumers of the product expressing through free speech their views on it to companies such as Nexstar and Sinclair, and then Nexstar and Sinclair exercising their right of free speech and their right to run their business in the most productive and profitable manner possible, making decisions consistent with that. And that, my friends, is exactly how free speech is supposed to work in a free market society. In America, if you don't believe that you as the consumer can express yourself through your pocketbook, ask Bud Light, ask Target, ask Jaguar. And for all of the people out there who suddenly are huge fans of the First Amendment, the very same people who applauded the cancellation of many others, I noticed that none of you were very vocal when the following occurred. When Tim Allen was canceled for being a conservative, when Roseanne Barr was fired in 2018 from ABC for being a conservative. Y'all celebrated when Tucker Carlson got canceled at Fox News. Hey, Shane Gillis, you guys might not know this, but he was supposed to be a cast member on Saturday Night Live in 2019. NBC didn't like his humor. They terminated him. Gina Carano, 2021. Yeah, Disney fired her for political statements she made. J.K. Rowling, oh my God, she is the subject of cancellation culture day and night. Megyn Kelly, how many people were celebrating the termination of Megyn Kelly in 2018 for comments she made regarding blackface? And then let us remember the ultimate form of cancellation. That would be Twitter under Jack Dorsey, who removed then President Donald Trump from the platform altogether while he was running for re-election. So to all of those newfound lovers of the First Amendment out there, I would ask you only one question. Why is it that you are expressing far more outrage about some Hollywood elitist getting canceled because he chose to express his views than you would ever show about the murder of a young father and husband? So once again, everyone, just so we're clear, yes, the First Amendment does protect the FA. It does not, however, protect the FO. Okay, listen, if you guys got any other questions about this or about anything else that we normally cover here at Washington Gun Law, you should know how to get a hold of us by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the ability to do that is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe. Okay, let's remember, like always, all the research we did for today's video was done where? That's right, at GroundNews. Why is that? Well, I like to get treated like an adult, and I bet you do too. And when you have a platform that's going to scour over 50,000 independent news sources and give you a biased distribution breakdown, let you know how the headlines are being manipulated, oh my gosh, it actually allows you to make up your own mind. Check out the blind spot. This will show you stories that are being disproportionately reported by one side of the political spectrum or the other. And right now, you can get every feature that GroundNews has to offer through a Vantage Plan at 40% off. And all you got to do is go to ground.news/Washington or scan this QR code right here. Listen, if you're finally ready to break free from media manipulation, visit my friends today at ground.news/Washington.